Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. On today's show, Dan is back from his voyage through France. We
We did
love to
it.
see it. And with him comes plenty of NFT news and just a little bit of drama as well. We're going to be discussing Azuki, Moonbirds, as well as marketplaces Blur and LooksRare. Before we get going, please like today's show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share these videos. We really appreciate it. The interaction really helps us. And head to FLOLiO.com. That's the most important thing for all of your NFT marketplace needs. Nothing we say is financial advice. Please do your own research. We're just a couple of guys who like to talk about NFTs. Dan, how was your trip?
It was good. It was good. I just mentioned this before the show. We barely had any internet, so I was forced to touch grass. Unfortunately, horrific experience. I wouldn't recommend touching grass to anyone. No, yeah, it was great. It was great. There's we were basically in the middle of nowhere. Went on like a 2-hour hike through the mountains to find some like nature, like water area. It was super cold, like the coldest water I've ever touched. And yeah, it was fun. And then we had to go back, and it started raining and thundering. So I was like, uh oh, and not very easy to get back considering it's all like rocks, like moss and like tree roots and all that stuff. If that's wet, it's super slippery. So that was definitely an experience. But yeah, I had a good time. I'm back. It's important to take a break from NFTs every once in a while because it's a 24/7 market. It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop, and especially right now, doing less could be doing more in the long run. So happy to have you back. Let's jump into it. So we're going to start with kind of looking at some of the data, our top performers for the week, if you can even call them that, because we have seen some low trading volume. We are down to levels we haven't seen this year. There was, one day in the last week where we hit like $8.4 million, lowest day of the year. You look at the 7-day chart on FLOLiO, no surprise. We see CryptoPunks, Bored Apes near the top. Azuki has had a good week. We'll talk about that. Other Deeds has had a shit week, and we'll definitely get into that. We still see the beans up there. They move with Azuki, so they are obviously doing well. You just got back the other day, Dan. What kind of stuck out to you when you first hopped back on and started looking at the NFT market?
Good question. I would say for like Azuki floor, I think. I don't recall. I think it was under 10 when I left. I'm not sure if that's correct.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up the Azuki collection page here. Give us 1 second as it loads. So when we'll kind of like move in and out a little bit. So let's talk about Azuki and what led to that movement. On Monday, they announced a few things. Number one, that they will have a physical backed token, which is going to be a digital token that is tied to a physical asset. And they're going to be doing this in multiple stages through the Azuki project. First stage being the golden skateboard. So this is a literal physical golden skateboard. Here we go. Here's the data right here. That is going up for auction. There are going to be 9 of them auctioned off. It's 24 karat gold plated skateboard. It is going, they weigh about 45 pounds.
Yeah.
So pretty big. We can see right here on Monday, it was trading around 9.91. Some of these announcements came out, and it took a nice little leg up to 11.75. And it's just, it came back down a little bit, and it's just been moving sideways, as to where it is right now at 11.1.
That's a big spike, honestly.
Yeah.
From 9 to
it was a big spike.
12.
Let's look at the volume too. I mean, there was 827 ETH of volume that day, which, let's look at the last month, and this will be a fun one too. We'll look at trading volume on Azuki for the last month here in a second. Sorry, my internet is being not great. There we go. So we can see that that day is the best we've seen in quite a while. Yeah. And then what's real fun is if we look back over, since we started tracking the Azuki data.
Oh, I wouldn't call that fun.
This is where we were on on Monday. If we go back to the biggest day back in May, 17.7 thousand ETH traded. I mean, that
Imagine.
longing for the good old days, man. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're focusing on the here and the now, Daniel. We can't go back in time. So that happened. Beans did well also. And then last week, I think also while you were gone, they had another announcement that is going to be kind of their own like home page for every asset, and it's going to make it more interactive and more
Okay.
social, which is, you know, holders can be able to earn like badges for certain things and show off their Azuki and have like their own Azuki profile. I think that was a pretty interesting idea. Like, I haven't seen any other projects doing that. So I still am not a huge, I still don't really like Zagabond and that whole situation. For those who don't know, he's one of the founders of Azuki, had some previous rug pulls in both NFTs and, from my understanding, some DeFi protocols as well. So not what I would consider to be a good guy for the space. However, the Azuki team as a whole is delivering some, you know, some cooler stuff. Physical back tokens, from my understanding, are not a brand new concept by any means, but it is one of the first NFTs to do it. So I think that's pretty cool. So, you know, I'm back and forth on how I feel about Azuki. If they continue to deliver cool stuff and are a positive in the NFT space, that's obviously a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. You know, the people behind it is still a little bit of a question mark. Most notably Zagabond, like you mentioned. I personally, it's kind of hard. It's a hard question, right? Like, it's like as if Beanie has like a project that he works on and delivers. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, like it's great that you're doing this stuff, but you know, like what about the other stuff? You know?
Yeah, it's I still don't own any Azuki assets. I don't intend on buying any. But, you know, the people who've supported it, I hope that, you know, they continue to get rewarded for
Yeah.
their, you know, their support of the project. So that's Azuki. We can talk about a few other things. We had the, you know, on the topic of gold, we had the Moonbirds gold nesting reward this week. There was a
Oh yeah.
lot of anticipation leading up to that. You know, after the silver nest, which was the fanny pack and the socks and everything, that definitely had people had their comments on it, myself included. This one was a lot better. Like, they did a
Yeah.
good job. Every holder is going to get an Infinite Objects frame. So for those who aren't aware, Infinite Objects is a company that creates digital frames for your NFTs, and Moonbirds are going to have one that's going to have their bird in the frame, which
Cool.
I think it's a pretty cool, you know, reward to have right there. Like, it's nothing earth shattering, but it's certainly not like, they're not cheap. Like, they definitely had to spend, I'm sure they got a deal obviously, but they had to spend a lot of money to get all those for their holders. It's a nice reward, something cool you can have on your desk, like that physical meets digital that we're constantly talking about. So I think that is a good reward for the people who've been nesting for this long.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how much one would cost if you were to buy right now?
Daniel, that is a
Not to put you on the
great,
spot.
that's a great question. Let
I
me pull it
apologize.
up. That's okay. I will pull it up if you want to
Do your
vamp for
damn
a
research,
second.
JWeb.
Hey man, I can't, like,
Come
Jesus.
on, man. Get it. You have to get it together.
Uh it looks like starting at $79 is what it says. So
Okay, 79 times 10,000 is like,
it's a lot of money. I'm sure
yeah,
they, like I said, I'm sure they got a nice bulk discount and have a partnership with Infinite Objects. So that's pretty cool.
yeah. So
You know, I
how do you get it again? How do you get the gold nesting? Is it just like a X amount of time you need to have it nested?
yes. So nesting has been going on for about 6 months now, I believe. So
Yeah.
the first reward, the bronze nest, I believe, was for 1 month. The silver nest was for 3 months, and now the gold, it has to have been nested for the full 6 months.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's like platinum is next or diamond or whatever, some other jewel. But yeah, progress, moving in the right direction. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yep. Let's see. We have some marketplace news as well. I think right when you got back, Blur Marketplace
Yeah.
announced their pseudo airdrop. So it's an airdrop that kind of
Kinda.
has happened, but no one has the money from it yet. So for those who aren't aware, Blur is a new marketplace. It's been being built for a little over a year now. Funding from it came from a lot of people who are well known in the space: Zeneca, Keyboard Monkey, some other
Really?
people who we'll get into that. Some other people in the NFT space, and they're really targeting the hardcore NFT traders, which I think at this point in time it makes sense because those are really the people who are the most active at the moment. Like we don't have as hardly any like brand new green retail, if you will, people coming in. So they are building this marketplace. It is part marketplace, part aggregator. So you can buy on their site, like you can list on there, and it also pulls listings from OpenSea and X2Y2. So it's a pretty nice tool. It has a lot of fun features. I'll go ahead and pull it up. I'll screen share it. We can kind of look. Have you looked through Blur much, Dan?
I haven't looked through it much. I did claim the airdrops on my wallets, and yeah, I'm not too sure what to think of it. It's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I think there's some features that I would still like to see. I just can't imagine myself browsing something other than like either Gem or OpenSea. Um, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really speak to me, even though I
Yep.
am like a hardcore NFT. I've bought and sold a decent amount on my one of my wallets. I had 50 ETH in volume, I think, last 6 months,
Yeah.
which is like it's not a lot, but it's not like I have like a lot to work with, you know. Um,
Yeah, they
yeah,
go, they kind of go for this like nostalgic feel with
yeah.
the layout and the UI. Like it kind of reminds me of Tron. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
too young for the original
No, I
Tron.
got
You
it.
probably
Yeah.
are. Okay.
No, I
Okay.
got it.
Oh,
I got it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it gives me that vibe. When you log in, it has this collections page. Let's just go to one of the collections and kind of look through the interface here. But you can see the listings across different sites. It is nice that you can see,
Yeah.
if something is marked suspicious on OpenSea. Down here, it has like this sweeping function
Yeah.
where you can like choose like, hey, I just want to sweep the 10 cheapest ones. If you got 750 ETH laying around, you can do that for Bored Ape Yacht Club. So there's that feature to it. The airdrop that Dan was mentioning, if you go to this airdrop thing up top, you can see your number of care packages. And your care packages were based on how much activity you have participated in the NFT space, buying and selling in the last 6 months. So
Mm.
they really are targeting people who have been active during the bear market, which I think is great. You had to reveal each of these care packages one by one, which was pretty annoying. But
Yeah.
these will the airdrop itself for the Blur token does not happen until January. So you had 14 days from this previous Wednesday to claim the airdrop, and to do that, you had to list one thing on their marketplace, similar to like what LooksRare did
Yeah.
back in January. And then there's two different airdrops. There's this one that is for activity the last 6 months, and then airdrop number 2, which is allegedly, or not allegedly, they are telling us this is going to be for even more tokens, is going to be based on your activity on the Blur website over the coming months. It sounds like the more stuff you list, the more you buy. If you use their sweeping feature, that's going to help your, how much you make on there, which I think is an interesting concept to take. But I've been looking at using it a little bit more just to try to get that
Yeah.
January stimmy that we're all desperate for.
Uh,
So overall, I think the site looks fine. I think the tools are the data is pretty good on there. The sweep feature is good.
uh-oh. He's gone. Stuck in a very unflattering pose.
My internet dropped out for a
Oh,
second. You got me?
you're back. You're back. You did it.
I'm back.
Carry on.
God, I like got this new like Google Mesh Wi-Fi as well to try to like
Yeah.
help my signal. Is just not doing it. God damn it.
At
All
least
right.
the voice
Anyway,
and
we're
video
gonna
is
keep.
decent.
Okay, we're gonna keep moving forward. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Maybe that'll help. So speaking of LooksRare, they made a big change this week to their listing rewards system. So for those who aren't too familiar with it, LooksRare, one of the other NFT marketplaces, you could earn their token just by listing assets. And they made a big change to that on Wednesday. It used to be that the top 15 trending collections could earn Looks token. Now it's just the top 5. And a max of 200 listings per collection will be rewarded. Previously, it was if you were within like 1.2x of the floor price and there was no cap on it. So it's kind of consolidating, getting more tokens into the hands of the highest volume projects and the people who are listing closest to the floor to try to drive more activity on LooksRare. One, I guess you can call it victim of this was the Other Deeds floor, which I'll pull that up over on FLOLiO real quick because Other Deeds took a massive dump. It's been trending down for a while now, but once this was announced, that was one project where people were constantly holding floor deeds and just listing them near the floor to just constantly collect those rewards. And with it being gone, the floor has plummeted. So we're now down.
So earlier today, I was looking at the floor because I was like, because a friend of mine who's like heavily into other side was like, yo, the bots are like going crazy, but like listing them, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll pick one up for like 1.1. I think the floor was at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll look at it later. And now it's come back to like 1.3 ish. So I was like, damn it.
Yeah. If I'm going to share screen. When you can see right on the chart when this started being impacted. So we did see, volume tick up a little bit over the last few days, actually having a decent volume day today. But, we see right here,
Boink.
We got the announcement on Wednesday. Floor was like 1.68, down to 1.4, bounced back a little bit, got down to, about 1.2. And now it's starting to, it's coming back a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked if we see another dip. Like, we've talked about it on the show before. It's going to be so long until Other Side is playable. Like, we're still waiting on the second of 11 parts of this first voyage. Like, it's going to be a while, folks. I'm happy. I still hold some Other Deeds. I sold my most valuable ones like near the top, so I'm very happy about that. That had a couple codas, and I'll look to get into codas in the future. I just have a hard time seeing how they're going to derive so much value for something that's currently going for like 12 to 15 ETH on the low end. Like, the codas seem cool. I'm sure they're going to be fun, but it is one of the riskier bets you can have right now. In my opinion.
They did say that, at least there was an interview with, I think his name was Garga or something.
Mm-hmm.
I might be close. And he mentioned that the Other Side is going to be like fully live in 2023. So I'm not sure if it was like a snippet from a podcast or something. So I'm unsure if that's like a official statement, but that is what has been said at least.
Okay. With the attention span of the NFT space, I'm cool sitting out a little bit longer because that's sometime in 2023 is like 10 years in NFT time. So I'm not in a huge rush to buy back in. I have some cash sitting on the side. If ETH takes another dump, maybe I'll buy enough ETH and keep my eye. For me, I think my number to buy a coda is probably around like 8. I don't want to spend double digits on a coda until, because like I said, that's a huge bet right there. Like, I have enough invested in Yuga at the moment. I don't need to take on even that's like the highest level risk of a risky asset.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It really is. Especially in the Other Side, I think, where it's like it's already highly speculative, and if it doesn't, it's hard, right? Because the entire like added benefit to a coda is whatever the hell it's going to do in the game, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not like I don't know, some Azuki where you have some access to something or whatever. You're not going to get many or any, I guess, like benefits outside of whatever's in the game, right? Like you're not going to get like a whitelist for a project because you have like a coda or something.
Nope. You were gone when the news broke on the Yuga SEC investigation. Do you hear about all that?
Yeah, I did hear about that, and also a lot of FUD about it because everyone was like, "Oh no, they're gonna get wrecked," but apparently this is just what they do, right? This is just they just go in and they investigate stuff they don't understand, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I mean, from my understanding, this investigation has been going on for at least 6 months. Like, this is not something that just happened. I think it was last Tuesday that the news broke about it, and it came out in like some articles on some major publications, websites. But this has been going on for a while, and it's nothing brand new. The price of ApeCoin tanked, like dipped
Yeah,
hard. Like it went from like 525 down to like 450, and now it's at like 440 something because everything else is down. But you know, we don't know exactly if they're probing the ApeCoin drop, the land sale. It's most likely that they're looking at, is this a security because of the
yeah,
expectation of making a profit? I'm not too concerned about it. Of all the NFT businesses out there that could get investigated and they're going to set the
yeah,
precedent on, Yuga's probably the best one because they have the most money to lawyer up the hardest. They also made it very clear, it was this time last year, almost like to the day, where they announced that ApeCoin was going to come out eventually, that they had been working with one of the top law firms in the crypto space to make sure that all their ducks were in a row going into it. So Kevin and I talked about it a little bit last week, but I'm not stressing about it. Like, I haven't fire sailed my apes or my mutants or anything. Like, I'm just kind of sitting over here with my ape coin like a dummy. Just we haven't heard that ape coin staking is not going to happen. Like, I'm not sweating it. Bored Ape Yacht Club like made some announcements about like stuff that's still going on, so it's not like they're just like packing up shop. So I think it was a huge overreaction by people who were probably like looking for a reason to get out anyways.
yeah. Or in general, there's a lot of people that don't like Bored Ape because it's expensive, So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people that are like, oh, there's drama, let's go. Like, oh yeah, fuck them, Yeah, I don't know. I'm not expecting anything. I doubt they're gonna get like wrecked, honestly. Like you mentioned, the law firm, and they know what they're doing. Like it's not like they're like going in and being like, oh yeah, let's we're selling these ape coins and you're gonna make some money. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they highly specified it's all like a utility token. So I think
yeah.
it's
I
gonna be
mean, it is.
covered.
It's been on the Yuga website that like ApeCoin is what's going to power
Yeah,
everything related to Yuga as far as other side, future drops, whatever it may be. So I'm Lord knows I'm not a securities lawyer, securities expert. I can just speak for myself that like I'm not sweating it until I have a reason to. So I think we can just kind of move on from there. Why don't you talk about being the European and me not knowing how to pronounce this word, the other NFT that's on our agenda.
yeah. So I wouldn't. So my French isn't amazing, but it's d'Or, Ballon
Okay.
d'Or, Ballon
Okay.
d'Or. I think it means like golden ball, like the ball of gold, and it's
Didn't
for. Oh yeah,
didn't one of the previous winners like drop it and break it one year?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't know, but that honestly, that seems like something someone would do. Yeah, so it's like a award people like football players win when they have like a really great year. So usually it's always kind of like the same people because they're still the best. So they apparently they like the organization they partner with Ledger, and the winners they got a gold plated Ledger Nano X, I think. That's cool. Like I would like a golden Ledger because mine's not golden and it's the USB. I'll grab it so I can show. This thing is already come off. This cable. They used to be like a little cover on that thing, and it's broken. So
Oh,
I would like a golden one, please. Would be kind of great. And they also apparently got an NFT, like I hope like one of a kind. It would be funny if it's like a floor NFT or something. Like here you go, like you won this thing. Here you go, is like a 20 buck NFT. I tried to look for the NFT and I couldn't find it. I did find a website that said like, yeah, we're gonna mint in 2 days. Chance of that being a scam is up there. So there you go with the information, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, if you win the golden ball, I mean, there you go, golden ledger. I mean, it sounds amazing though. Sounds really cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, let's go into the Warner Brothers one for Lord of the Rings also, because this is something that you'd put on our agenda. I've been hearing people talking about it. So please go ahead.
Yeah, so Warner Bros. They recently announced that they were gonna have like a sale for NFTs related to Lord of the Rings, and they had two tiers. So they had like I think they called like ultra rare or whatever, just a second tier. They actually did mint out because they minted 2 hours ago, and they were 999, and they were minting for $100. So everything was in like dollars, so it's not like, oh, it's like Ethereum. I think it is supported on like the Ethereum blockchain though. So the floor of that one was $200 last time I checked, so it's actually up, which is nice. But the common ones, there's 10,000 of them, and they are $30, and they're not minted out. They're only 1,800 minted, which is like kind of not great. But in terms of what it gives, it's kind of like, I guess if you really like the show or the series,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I love the Lord of the Rings, but not like the newest one. I haven't seen that one yet, but I liked all the older movies. I can't imagine like you would have to be like such a diehard to really enjoy the benefits. The benefits include some immersive audio commentary on the show or like the movies, some additional camera angles or something, Gandalf's staff as a Snapchat filter. All right, I guess. And owning an NFT allows you to have access to viewing like a 4K Fellowship of the Ring movie. And I assume that's it. Like I can't imagine more.
It looks like there's 2,078 minted now, so still almost 8,000 available. I don't imagine this is going to mint out.
Yeah, and if you look at their Twitter, it's bad. It's because I think they started Twitter like 4 or 5 days ago. There's like 10
Yeah.
tweets, and they're the most generic tweets you've ever seen in your life. Like this is some stuff you would read 1 year ago. It's like GM, who's ready for this drop, guys? Like, and then good morning, when mint. It's all that kind of stuff. It's very like the walk me
Yeah.
type stuff.
Yeah. This is very, very bad. Like this was, this screenshot everyone had of all the big corporate like
Yeah,
Budweiser and Pepsi,
oh,
like, hey friend, like, oh,
yeah,
that was
that
the
was the
most
top, right?
cringe. That was
That
the
was the
top.
top.
That was definitely the top.
We should have
Uh,
known, but
God, we should have just sold everything right then and there. But here we are. It's more big brands getting in. It's more big brands getting in and trying to sell us something right away. So not a huge fan of that. In other big names, there was also I believe Mike Tyson had
not again.
had something going on like Solana that I believe was a free mint. It was like pigeons or something like that. I don't keep too close of tabs on the Solana NFTs. But on that note as well with Solana, still no reveal on the Utes art, and
Oh,
it came out recently that they completely scrapped the art that they had previously been working on and are basically starting over again.
yeah, but that was
So
known, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was known that they scrapped everything. It was known that
Oh,
they were
they're
revising
redoing it.
stuff,
Yeah.
but like they're like totally, from what I understand, starting over, which this coming weekend will be 7 weeks since the project minted. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. I believe you were also away when Magic Eden announced that they're no longer requiring royalties for creators. So that's some kind of pivot as well. So a lot going on over on the Solana side, and not all of it is particularly good.
Yeah, it's still I still should actually work on exploring other chains, but it's hard. It's hard to push myself because I don't really recognize like other chains. I guess it all looks kind of like Mickey Mouse NFTs.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, Cardano's been getting more talk. Tezos has been getting some. Avalanche. Like, I have a hard time venturing away from ETH. I know that there are opportunities there, but I don't know. I'm comfortable. I understand the projects on ETH, and I'm not trying to like be a jack of all trades. Like, I'd rather
yeah,
focus on a few that I think are good opportunities long term.
yeah. So fun fact regarding that line, Jack of all trades. Did you know the full line is actually Jack of all trades but master of none? I didn't know.
Okay. Well, I would rather be a master of a few than
Yeah,
a
I would.
master of none.
I would like to be the master of Ethereum. That sounds cool. That's a cool title to have.
The master of Wolf game over there.
That's me.
So Ranga has taken a big pullback
Yeah.
that from its top. There was some drama around that this week because there was some floor manipulation going on. There
Oh.
were a few accounts that would buy up like the lowest price Ranga, and 20 minutes later, list it for like a zero point 0.2 ETH loss, like buy at 1.6, list for 1.4, do that over and over again. So people in the community kind of did a little bit of research into it, and it was people from a different project. I'm not going to say
That's
which
funny.
one, but definitely some projects that weren't getting enough attention wanted to try to bring down the Renga floor, and they were successful doing it. It's the floor is down from its all-time high of 3.2, but I'm still holding steady with I think 9 Renga at the moment, and I'm happy with the way things are going. Like talking to people on the team in the community, I'm chilling for a while. I got no reason to panic.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it doesn't happen more often, especially with Renga seems a little bit more like tricky to pull off because there's actual volume. But with projects where there's not a whole lot of volume, I reckon it's quite easy to just like buy, sell for like a loss and just tank the floor because no one buys it anyway. If you have some either nefarious intention or want to buy in cheaper or something, I don't know. I'm not rich or smart enough to do any of this. Um, but maybe people who do, I don't know. This is not financial or I don't know. It's not even advice. Please don't wreck floors.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not cool. On the crypto side, we did get some promising news this week that Fidelity Investments, one of the larger institutions out there, beginning October 28th, is going to offer customers the ability to buy, sell, and transfer Ether through a Fidelity account on what is being called Fidelity Digital Assets. So in the press release, one of the first lines notes that since the merge is complete, investors are looking at Ether more favorably. So are
There
these
you
bigger
go.
institutions. So I think that's definitely going to be a positive. I don't expect on the 28th the price of ETH to take a big jump up or anything like that. But it is good to see that these traditional financial institutions are paying more attention to the crypto market. Now, I mean, the overall markets are in shambles. So who knows when this is going to lead to anything positive, but I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we hoped for, right? Going into the merge, and yeah, it's nice to see that it's paying dividends. I mean, the more Ethereum can be used in the real world, the better it is, I suppose.
100%. 100%. Do you want to talk at all about the beanie drama that has happened over the last 48 hours?
You can touch on it a little bit. I don't know too much about it other than like beanie stuff, which is still kind of odd. Like if you look at the NFT ethics Twitter account,
Yeah.
like looking back at it, it's always like a little bit like some stuff is true and like factual, and some other stuff is like reaching or like theories. But yeah, doesn't seem like a great person from his past. Beanie came back from hibernation recently and wasn't happy that he didn't get like a what do you call it, like a red what do you call it, like a red carpet. What do you call it? Yeah, it
Yeah.
is, right?
They didn't
It
roll
is.
out the red carpet for him.
Yeah,
Well,
there you
it's
go.
not a coincidence that he came back when he
Oh yeah.
did, right? So for those who are new, may not know much about him, Beanie Maxi is his handle on Twitter. Very early NFT collector, predates Daniel and I. He's he was a big holder in CryptoPunks. He helped begin Pixel Vault. He's no longer associated with Pixel Vault, and he doesn't hold any of their assets. Very controversial guy. Started a project called Bloot that turned into, he claimed he was going to dedicate his life to Bloot, and that project completely fell apart. He is pumped and dumped many a times. Most infamously, in my opinion, was when he put out a tweet saying that, and this was at the height of his popularity, that Cool Cats and Cryptodes were going to pass Bored Ape Yacht Club in floor price, while simultaneously listing his Cool Cats and Cryptodes to try to sell into the hype that he was creating. So that's something that happened. Yeah, which is just a real shitbag move on his part. He went away for a while, and he came back on Wednesday, joined some of the bigger Twitter spaces to, start getting attention again. And it was revealed yesterday, either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, that under a different name, he was an investor in the initial round of Blur Marketplace. So, Blur began their crate, opening process and their big announcement that they were live on Wednesday, and Beanie just happened to come back that same day. I don't view that. We like to speak in facts here. I don't view that as much of a coincidence. You can form your own opinion around that, but I, as someone who tries to operate with a high level of integrity, I don't like that he's back. I don't think he's good for the space. I don't think that, he's the type of person that we want at the forefront and having one of the biggest audiences in NFTs, because NFTs are already looked on unfavorably by the majority of people. And so I don't think we need someone with a reputation like him, who clearly has no problem doing unethical things, being at the forefront of the NFT space.
Yeah, I mean, if you can say one thing, is he was really ahead of his time in terms of being an influencer in the NFT space. I mean, if you look at some people now, they really walk in his footsteps. But I wonder if so. So is it confirmed that he did invest in Blur, or is it just like people are like theorizing?
I mean, he said on the Twitter Spaces that he was invested in Blur, and from what I know from other people who invested, his the name Beanie was not on the cap table for the other early investors. He must have done it under a
Pseudonym
a corporation or pseudonym or whatever. But he made that statement that he was an early investor in Blur. Blur came out saying that they were not aware that it was him, who that investment came from, and that he has no involvement in the day-to-day operations of the site.
So does that matter to you? Do you think it's bad that he has invested in Blur as like a user, I suppose?
I mean, if he truly has if they didn't know and he has no involvement in how the site is going to be run, in their marketing, in their day-to-day operations, that doesn't bother me. Do I like it that he's going to profit in another way?
Yeah.
Not particularly, but that's kind of capitalism for you. Like, it was the same thing with LooksRare and how Cole Ethereum, it was found out that he, another person who I'm not a fan of in the NFT space because of things they've done in the past. He was a part of that early round. I didn't love that, but he was also not involved in the day-to-day. So you're never going to have it 100% perfect. If he's not promoting the site, if he's not helping them run it, I'm not going to, stress about that too much.
Yeah, because it's the one of the few. Okay, so I have to talk about Wolfgame. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
This it's an episode of our show. I have to touch Wolfgame at least once.
Yeah, you're quota to hit.
Yeah, this one's it's actually negative, so I'm actually gonna FUD Wolfgame a bit. So it's one of the few skeletons in the closet of Wolfgame is the fact that Beanie is an early investor in the project. So he has actually, I'm unsure of the details, but he is also not involved in day-to-day. So it's always interesting because at what point does it like affect the project, right? Like when it first came out or something. There was like this huge, oh no, this huge beanie drama, right? When he got outed by the NFT ethics Twitter channel profile.
Yep.
Wolfgame took a huge hit. Like floors were down, floors were sliced and through the half. Like it was crazy. But now when he came back and got like some like all the talk again, all the negative attention, didn't do shit to Wolfgame at all. Even though it's like a known fact that he has actually invested in them early. So yeah, I hope that doesn't like cause any issues down the line. I also don't like that he's profiting off it, but that's kind of how it goes, Like, I don't think like people who profit off stuff. I would assume it's fairly common that like not great people sit and like
Oh,
reap
yeah.
rewards, like AFK,
Yep.
like Bezos or whatever, just sits there being like a lizard or something.
What was that?
I'm kidding, of course. I'm joking. Isn't that what they say?
Wait,
Isn't that what like
Jeff
those people
Bezos
say?
is a lizard?
I don't know. Isn't that what people say? Like
It,
like him and the Facebook guy. What is his name?
Mark Zuckerberg? They're both
Yeah,
lizard people?
isn't that what they said? Like, yeah, they're damn lizards.
Who is saying this, Dan? You said
I don't know.
they said. I don't know who they
I don't know,
is in
like
this
Twitter people or
situation.
something.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely a good source for all you.
They
got
say
like Reddit
everything.
and like 4chan and stuff like
It's
this
Facebook.
information?
Dude, trust me, I
It's
read it on
Facebook.
Facebook. I read it on Facebook. He's a
Okay.
lizard. I'm convinced. All right.
Well, you know what? If you're convinced, and I trust your judgment. Apparently,
I'm just trolling, of course. I'm a sensible person sometimes.
Oh man! All right. Well, on that note, I think we've covered pretty much all of our topics for the day. Daniel's really losing his mind talking about lizard people, so I think that's probably a good way to end the show. Thank you everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. Please, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. It takes you 2 seconds, quite literally, and it helps us out. Subscribe to our channel, drop a comment, share the video. All of these little things that like really do mean a lot to Daniel and I. It helps us out a ton. Head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT needs. We'll be back next week for more NFT news because Lord knows there's going to be plenty of it over the weekend. So for Dan, for the team at FLOLiO, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.